Hi, everyone. I love seeing everybody's work so far, and I'm super excited for this next assignment, which will be about coils, how to make a coil picture. And I have put together this PowerPoint. So I'm going to share the screen. Okay, so we are looking at just different types of coil pottery. So here are some different types of coils. There's some obvious ones: spiral shapes, arch shapes, short coils, long coils, twists. So you can actually twist or braid coils. There are also donuts, folds, and spheres. So the coil is just a long tubular shape of clay, and there is many different ways to go about making a coil object, especially considering if you can braid coils, and you could even possibly braid yourself a ceramic basket. So this is an example of large coil vessels by Los Angeles-based artist Leonard Rush. He does not slip and score his work together. He actually pinches the new coil to the inside of the previous coil. Although gravity controls the direction of his work, he is fully in control of how these pieces are shaped. So Leonard is a friend of mine that we worked in the same ceramic studio. He works really fast, really large, and he would always make little maquettes, little tiny sculptures of these pieces. So he would work with the gravity. He was really good at understanding gravity with clay and the weight of the clay. So he would always kind of work with that, with adding all of this weight by adding one coil at a time, very quickly, without slipping and scoring the coils together, just pinching them together. This is a ceramic lamp by another friend from a previous studio. Her name is Allie White Lightning, based in LA. And like Leonard, she plans her pieces. She does little drawings of them first, and she's in full control as she makes these coil pieces. Her preferred clay that I've seen her work with, and I believe that this piece is made with a B mix with grog. So grog is a material that is added to clay, and it's kind of similar to sand. It's used to make the clay body a lot more rigid and solid, and it's great for doing larger work. So I have a little question in this slideshow. Um, I was wondering, I mean, I know that I'm recording this, so I'm screaming in an echo chamber here, but where is this ceramic lamp that she made the most fragile is the question. So think about it for a second. This is the most fragile point of this lamp that she made. That is just solely because there is this huge, large area here that has nothing that it's standing on. It's the point of three different cylinders essentially coming together. So this area, and this area are all coming together. And thankfully she uses B mix with grog, because I'm pretty sure that's what helps these types of pieces from falling apart. Because of the grog, it has this amazing body and is super strong. But when you deal with negative spaces, that's when your work is certainly more likely to break. And one way that this could break is if it's bone dry, and if this one side of this lamp is set down harder or before the other side of this lamp, there would be a chance that this could break. So ceramics is just a very brittle medium and very breakable. So it's always kind of interesting to think about other people's work and where it would be the most fragile, so you can learn yourself. These are really cool coil pots, just really organic shaped coils that actually look like they're kind of flat. I know in my demonstration of making a coil pot, I encourage you to roll it out to make it super cylindrical. But if you are going for this aesthetic of a little bit more organic, you don't have to worry so much about the perfect cylinder, and you can make your coils flatter and of different shapes and sizes to get this really cool organic texture. These are coil pieces by Kristen Helmer. So Ebby Berle is someone that I also have worked with, and he likes to use the coil method to build his pieces. So this is made from coil, and then he probably smoothed it out with a wooden sculpture tool or wooden rib, and then carved out that organic texture. I'm not sure how he carved it out, but it's really beautiful. It kind of looks like an imprint of leaves. So there's always room to add more texture onto your coil pot later. It just will probably take you a kind of a long time. So this is a piece that Ebby Berle made. I found this photo on Instagram, and it remarks how he uses the coil technique to create this figurative sculpture. So after building using the coil method, he combs over the coils. After coming over the clay and the coils with a serrated rib or a fork, and it mixes up the molecules of clay and makes the piece stronger and sturdier. So I saw he's commented here, he coiled this from the bottom up. So he started with 2 feet, he coiled that all up into this one, and then combed over it with a fork or a serrated rib, and mixed up these molecules of clay and just made that clay even more strong. This is a ceramic vessel that I made called Air is Where the Heart Is. I made this from using the slab coil technique. So not round coils, but long, thin slab strips. I pressed a large piece of clay through the slab roller, so it was about a 1/2 inch thick, and cut away strips and slip and scored them onto one another, just like any other coil technique, but with flat coils. This was a way to build faster without tiring my hands. So if you can try for your coil pitcher, making your coils really flat and stacking them up. You can do it round. There still is, if you can see here, I have the very top part of this heart vessel with really, really thin pieces of clay. So I guess that's the benefit of using flat coils. I mean, there's also triangular coils, and I will have all types of just different photo demonstrations that I sourced that you can look at, so you can decide which coil technique you want to use. So, oh yeah, here is something that I sourced from the Ceramic Arts Handbook series, Hand Building Techniques, which is our class book. And this shows you this technique of rolling out a huge slab and then cutting away strips about 2 inches wide for this person is making a large jar. So placing the flat coil to the inside of the previous flat coil to make the diameter become smaller. So always, if you want the diameter to go wider, sorry, I was looking for my pointer. If you want the diameter of this to flare out wider, you would attach the flat coils on the outside, but because they want the diameter to flare inside, they're attaching it to the inside of the previous coil. Like any coil method, besides the super organic one that we looked at, you want to smooth the seams inside and out while building. And then also you can always finish with the paddling technique, and notice how they're always holding and embracing the clay from the inside as they paddle from the outside, or as they attach as they're working and smoothing, they're always bracing the inside. So that's just good practice to get into. So these are some coil pitchers, aka jugs or ewers, are also known as these. that are just fun ideas for maybe considering for your project, just like based off of just design alone. So this is a late 7th century Chinese ewer that could be easily coil made. We start with a one coil down here and then just build up. I'd probably put a base somewhere. I don't know if this is, I mean, if I was making this, I would want it to be functional. Then this could be easily coiled, and then the neck made out of slab, and this could definitely be made out of slab too, and this could be a coil that was then later carved. The handle. So for this assignment, I want you to consider all these different aspects of what a pitcher or an ewer or a jar, excuse me, a jug normally has. So I want you to think about putting in a foot. I want it to have a belly, and I want it to have a shoulder, and I want it to have a neck and a lip and a handle. And I believe even like a nice ergonomic consideration for where the thumb goes. So for your assignment, you're going to be considering kind of the anatomy of a pitcher, and you're going to try to control the coil work that you're doing to capture the planned desired shape that you want. I found this, I don't know, I found this really bizarre looking earthenware pottery 1970s vintage ceramic pitcher with a really kind of grotesque like lava glaze. I thought it was really weird and almost kind of repulsive looking, but I thought I kind of really liked it actually for that reason too. I really liked the super funky handle with that sharp angle right there. I think that's what I like the most about it. And I also kind of like how in this design it's just not perfect. Nothing's like really symmetrical. But I do think that there is still like definitely some craftsmanship that was being used to make this. So just this is a really fun handle idea. Always like when you're considering your handle and you're figuring out your design, it's always nice to consider what kind of really cool negative space you could get from whatever shape handle you're making. So keep that in mind. This is an ewer from the 12th century. It's made out of porcelain with a celadon glaze, and this is in the Brooklyn Museum. And this could be definitely made from coil, like has slab at the bottom, coiled up and then out and then in again. And then these coils are obviously an example of a coil twist. So there's two coils that are twisted together, making a really, really cool handle with also this little thumb rest, which is really tightly interwoven into the handle, and they just work so well together. I think that there's like a seamless kind of design with the thumb rest and the handle. And then this spout would be created from a super thin slab, created from a thin slab that would be turned into a cylinder and then shaped. Probably easier to do work like this with the B mix that doesn't have grog in it. I wonder how you all will get working with the Rodspot and how the Rodspot works to do little details like this. We'll definitely find out in this assignment. This is an example of a Gonder pitcher with a fluted handle and spout and light crazing. This one really does look like it's created from a mold to me, and I'm gonna talk a little bit more about mold making processes, like how that's pretty common within the ceramic world as far as really getting into ceramics as a commodity, such as the mugs that you have stacked up in your kitchen cupboard or whatever. Those are made from molds. So these manufactured pieces that are like commercialized, I still think this is a really cool design. I love the seashell style spout, and also how the spout is like as big as the handle, I think is a really cool design. It's almost symmetrical in general in the shape, but a little bit off, which I think is what makes it so intriguing. And the thumb rest is also kind of cool too, like sort of reminds me of a spine. And then this is obvious coil work. So this artist decided to stack up these coils. And this is also another vintage piece from the Lauren Bacall collection. And this artist decided to stack up coils without really smoothing them over, but was probably doing a really, taking a lot of time attaching the coils so that they're the perfect size. And then after creating the general shape, the artist went back and carved out that rope texture, which is really cool and must have taken a bit of time to make, but I love this handle. I think it's really fun. This like double handle here makes for a really interesting like double negative design. This is something that's super cool that I found. I mean, I love, it's this lobster. It's a lobster handle on a pitcher, and I found it and I really liked it because I kind of was unnerved by it. I think that there's definitely tons of artistry that goes into the lobster that was made. It's such an interesting piece because the lobster is so refined looking and looks so like alive. And then the pot looks like it was very handmade. So I like the way that this artist takes this like kind of rustic but sort of realistic lobster and matches it with a coiled pitcher that has this little refinement to this point where I can see just different marks from the hand on it, so like over here and just around even this belly and stuff. So I just thought it was kind of peculiar and a fun thing to throw in there. And you're welcome to do something crazy with a handle like this. I think that would be really fun. And here's another little coiled pitcher. Example of using really thin coils. This is a jug that was done by Picasso. So this is very smoothed out with just a very thick handle, and all painted very cool. And then lastly, I just saw these two pictures online, and I thought that these were both really cool. I thought they had some similar kind of design where the spout is just so high. Instead of like being placed super low, the spout on both of these are at the same height. So that'd be something you can consider. Is your spout angled super high, or is it going to be angled super low? I mean, they definitely seem like this is one that you could buy at Target, and then this is maybe one you could buy at Pier 1. But I think that I actually really love this like split clay sort of look that's happening right here. And I like this, really like this negative space that was cut down into this picture. But yes, so that is it on this presentation on coil pottery. I hope this was helpful. I hope that it gave you ideas for how to approach your coil pitcher. And I hope you enjoy, and let me know if you have any questions.